The Latin American woman represents the story of every single country in America to which she belongs. He experienced a clear turn in her condition when the hard war invaded most of the continent, just think that to defend his country, he took weapons and rifles to fight invaders. Women fought, prepared food for men and caring for their younger children, and they always risked being killed, mistreated and raped by anti-revolutionaries. Now, in them, there is a desire to improve, but the biggest obstacle to this, the violence exercised against them. Violence has multiple faces. Many people tie the war only to physical meaning, but it's not just this. It is also psychological, economic and sexual. The most widespread violence, in contrast to what is thought, is that which takes place inside the domestic walls or in the family. Thousands of women every year are killed by men, almost always by those who claim love them. It's a real slaughter. Daily violence is added to feminicide. In fact, thousands of women are molested, persecuted, attacked, beaten, scared, almost 7 million, according to Istat data. An event that has shocked the Latin American people was during Miss Peru's beauty contest, when the 33 misses, when they had to unveil their measures, each one relieved the number of feminicide and violence against women in the last years. With this act, they wanted to send a message: stop violence against women. In the past, the woman was considered as nothing, and still in some countries she is a subject of the man. For example, in the Middle East, whose condition is mainly related to Islam. According to the Quran, the woman is equal to man and there isn't discrimination after death, but nevertheless, women are excluded from public and political life. They can drive in public places, they have separate entries from those of the men, and when they go out, they must wear the burqa. The so-called machismo in Latin America is one of the main reasons for violence against women. Following this thought, a woman should always obey her husband. Violence against women is one of the central issues in the struggle of the women's movement in Latin America. According to the World Health Organization's Global Violence and Health Report, Latin America is the second region with the most high rate of feminicides. But women also suffer violence at work. Sexual harassment by boss or superiors and other violations of women's labor rights. It is not just about physical violence, but also about psychological and social violence. For example, if a woman in Latin America decides to divorce, she loses all her rights for maintenance, and therefore in a few months she finds herself in a state of absolute poverty. In Argentina, the law sanction of the year 2009 defines violence against women as any behavior, act or omission that either directly or indirectly, whether in public or in private, or based on an equal relationship as well as their personal security. In addition, there are at least 14 laws to prevent, punish and eradicate violence against women. In Brazil, the Chamber of Deputies of the country has approved the increase in the punishment of crimes against women up to 30 years in prison, while Chile has 16 laws to protect women from violence. Finally, women are increasingly occupying an important role in the society. The three leading countries in South America, Brazil, Argentina and Chile, are led by women. Dilma Rousseff in Brazil, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner in Argentina and Michelle Bachelet in Chile. Today, more than 40% of the population in South America is governed by women. Latin women who have become major milestones of Latin culture for their determination, power and courage are many. Among them, Frida Kahlo, a Mexican artist who expresses her pain in her paintings. Juan Inés, Gabriela Mistral, Pura Belpré, Julia de Burgos, and Sonia Sotomayor, the first women named Latin Supreme Court judge of the United States. During the International Women's Day, a lot of writers have emerged about their literature and their courage to touch delicate topics such as Lidia Cacho, a Mexican journalist, writer, and activist who, in his book Slaves of Power, an investigative work, featured names of entrepreneurs and politicians who are able to use baby girls to satiate their lowest instincts. The journalist and investigator San Juana Martinez, who shocked Mexico with her book The Lovers of Power, in which she investigates the dark side of state agencies in Mexico and reveals how they are vicious and violent, capable of committing crimes. Self Almada, Argentine writer, in his book Chicas Muertas, talks about feminicides in his native land. Having Dominican origins, I will consider the figure of Dominican woman, who, with the passing of time, was born thanks to a mix of races and after the arrival of Colombo in the island in 1492 and the massive import of African slaves. The political participation for women is almost inexistent because of invasions, dictatorships, and revolutions, but they didn't surrender, and so was the struggle for female voting under the dictatorships of Trujillo in 1942. In addition to the Mirabal sisters, who were detained, raped, tortured, and killed as opponents of the government of dictator Trujillo on the 25th of November in 1960, many women fought against the injustice of this country. For example, Josefina Padilla was the first female candidate for the Dominican vice presidency. De Mirabal is the youngest of the Mirabal sisters and the only survivor. Many have described her as the survivor to tell the story. Another very important woman in the history of Dominican Republic is Ivelis Prats, who was the first woman in Latin America to be elected president of the party. In this framework, I wanted to highlight the importance of the struggle that women make in Europe and in Latin America for their freedom and for liberation from all the exploitation and oppression that imposes society on them. The value of the woman is born with her, in the ability to keep her family together, in maternity, in the way of loving and giving herself, learning from her first role as the daughter, then to the mother and wife. However, they are all women who bear their sufferings, their mistakes and regrets. Now, men's job is knowing to get what doesn't want to be a competition, but respect and collaboration. To be able to lead a life together, possible only in a mutual respect, needed today and every day.